muscle imbalances and how do you fix them? Well, first, what is a muscle imbalance? A muscle imbalance is when one side of the body is significantly stronger than the other side of the body, or one muscle group is significantly bigger than the other. And the worst one is when your mobility is better on one side than the other. And that's what most would call an imbalance. Muscular, skeletal, mobility, it's an imbalance. It's an imbalance of the body, but how do you fix it? And that's what I want to break down to you today. It's how do you fix muscle imbalances, mobility imbalances, so therefore you can start training safer, injury-free, pain-free, and actually get the physique that you're looking for. So let's get into it. First things first is identifying that imbalance. Where in your body do you feel like you're stronger on one side than the other? Where in your body do you feel like one muscle is bigger than the other? Where in your body do you feel like maybe when you're running, you feel awkward in the way you leap from your left foot to your right foot? And here's the thing, an imbalance is not necessarily normal, unless it's something you were born with. And at that point, we can't necessarily fix it, but we could train in a way to where it may be less visible or cause less pain, but most importantly allows you to move the way that you want to move. But identifying an imbalance is always the first step. For example, I remember one time I came from the gym, my dad was like, yo, your left shoulder is bigger than your right shoulder. And it was actually bigger than the other. And I was like, okay, cool. I have to change up my training. I have to be smarter with the way I trained. I have to be smarter with the way I approach the gym. Instead of just going in there and pushing weight and ego lifting, I slowed things down. I slowed things down and focus on this, unilateral movements. Movements where I'm using one side of the body at one time, like the cable lat raise. And what I would do is for like a month or two, just do 1 to 2 reps extra on my left side versus my right side. Butt range of motion is important, movement's important, and making sure that I was actually doing it properly was very important. But if you find out your right lat is bigger than your left lat, do single arm rows and just do 2 extra on the other side. And again, it's not about going heavy, it's about growing the muscle, targeting it effectively, so therefore you can actually build that symmetry that you're looking for. And you're probably saying, wait, what about my shoulder press? What if I'm not shoulder pressing and I'm here and this side is here? What do I do? Well, I wouldn't say do this. No, that's not what you would do. What you would do on a shoulder press is these 3 things. 1, slow it down. You want to mirror your strong arm, right? So mirror your strong arm by slowing it down. And if you're at the bottom portion of the exercise, feel the weight and make sure you feel in the exact same area, in the same spot, get the same handle. And once everything's the same in one spot, as you press, aim to press it the same way. And over time, a few things will happen. 1, it's gonna give you tempo control to where you're gonna understand that when it comes to bodybuilding and really building a physique that you're proud of, it's not just about pushing weight. It's about controlling the weight at the bottom, controlling the weight as you press, and controlling it on the way down. And when you start controlling it on the way down, that's when your balance is going to be less apparent. It's still going to be there, I'm not gonna lie to you. Meaning, if you're doing shoulder press for 10 years, as you do it more and more and more, it's gonna happen less and less. But there are times when you're really pushing yourself and you're gonna start fatiguing out, and it's gonna happen. It's like if you're doing 5 sets of 10 and you're in your 5th set and you're at number 9 and 10, you're 8, went like this, you're 9 and 4, one side went up. You're gonna have to expect that. It's bound to happen, and that's when a spotter come in. If you find it that one side is pushing more than the other, especially towards the end of workouts, get somebody to assist you. But applying what I just said before will help it happen less and less. But the biggest thing is preventing it from happening as much as possible and making sure it only happens towards the very end when you're tired, you're beat, you're pushing yourself, and you're just trying to break your limits. Now, what about if you're facing an injury? I went through exactly that, not once, but twice in the exact same knee. First time, it was a partial tear, so it didn't really fully tear off. So I was still able to play, so after like a month of just recovery, I just went back into it. And then literally a year later, it fully tears. You learn from it, you grow from it, you just get better. But the second time, that shit ain't happening again. And here's exactly what I did. For 1, definitely go to PT. Go to PT and utilize that time. But as you're going to PT, one thing I also want you to do is to focus on the surrounding muscle groups. Because for me, with my ACL injury, I actually started to feel a lot of pain on my left hip. It's because I was dominant in my left leg, and if I'm being honest with you, I was limping as I was walking. When I did tear my ACL, I was still working full time. I couldn't really take off. So I just dealt with the consequences. But I knew that I had to take action on what I was doing in the gym So therefore, I don't do that forever. Now I walk perfectly fine, and it's because I did a few things. For one, I focused a lot on my hamstrings, because your hamstrings play a key role in stabilizing the knee joint through stability and knee flexion. So focusing on single leg curls, RDLs, movements that I could do where I didn't have to put a lot of pressure on my quads and my knees were essential. It allowed me to focus on the backside of my leg, strengthen that area, so therefore over time when I was able to incorporate quad exercises, it made it that much easier to do, but most importantly, it made it that much easier to move. And then from there, I would focus on my glutes. Because if I'm having a lot of hip pain and I haven't done lower body in 6 months, it's probably because I'm sitting a lot, I'm not moving a lot, and my glutes are tight. So first thing, I would foam roll, and then I would train my glutes. And I would train my glutes by doing banded side to sides. Because again, I couldn't do a hip bridge. It would put me in a position to where some stress would be going on my knee. So I'd take a bend, put it on one leg, put it in the other, and that allowed me to train my glutes, strengthen it, without necessarily having to do a lot of load. And I did the same thing for my quads when I was actually able to train them. Meaning when I had my ACL surgery, my quads literally did not look the same. So that was the muscle group that I really had to take my time to allow it to recover, and I couldn't really do anything. But throughout that time, I was still strengthening the other areas. But when I was able to do quads, I would do knee drives, which is basically the mini band is on your foot and you're driving your knee up. And that's going to allow you to flex, but most importantly, just utilize that muscle group without necessarily, again, having to put load on it. And that allowed me to strengthen that muscle group over time to where I was able to get back into doing leg press, doing squats. But again, it's one, sticking to the process, sticking to CPT, focus on these small but boring ass workouts, because it's going to feel like that, but they're going to reward you. You can't skip that. A lot of people always say, I have knee pain, that's why I can't work out. Where'd the knee pain come from? I don't know, it just popped up one day. How long ago? 10 years ago. Have you done anything to change it? No. Have you strengthened your glutes? No. Why would I do that? I have knee pain. Like, working out's gonna make it worse when it's literally the only thing that will help them get better. Shit baffles me. And last but not least, focus on consistency over perfection. Because the process and what you're doing is exactly what's gonna help you go from where you are now, feeling this pain, to having less and less and less pain. But is this something that's going to disappear forever? Probably not. It's probably something that's going to be there once a month, once every 2 months. Because again, it's a part of the body that you injured. You have some scar tissue, and that scar tissue might cause a little bit of pain here and there, especially when you sit, when you walk, or you do that for over a long period of time, or when it rains. But overall, when it comes to fixing imbalances, remember these 3 things. 1, focus on surrounding muscle groups to strengthen injured areas. 2, focus on unilateral movements that can help you train one side of the body while leaving the other at rest. So therefore, you could do a little bit more on that one side than the other, and over time can help you build that symmetry that you're ideally looking for. And 3, remember it's all about consistency. Don't rush it, don't try to overdo it, and focus on progress. Focus on your process to better your day-to-day, your life, and your gym experience. But with that being said, remember if you ever need some help, got my Lose 20 Pounds, Get in Shape program down below, where I can personally help you on thriving and building the body of your dreams. And if not, I got some free guides down below just for you. Have the best day ever. Stay beautiful, stay blessed. Peace.